Time to start the class. So today we are going to discuss Oedipus again, but we are going to discuss Oedipus at a glance, and definitely we are going to discuss all other ideas, the what sorts of problem usually King Oedipus had, and after that what was the outcome, and he was a tragic hero. What happened to him? Jocasta died and he uprooted his own eyes. So at first it is starts with Sophocles. There are some Latin information written here, and when it was performed, those information are written here. It's a great trilogy by Sophocles, Oedipus at Colonus, and then Antigone. Antigone is very important. If you have time, read this text. Both English and Bangla are available in Nilkhetar, Friends Book Corner. Okay, so this is the story of King Oedipus. But the thing is that Oedipus' fate was its fate of it's predestination. It's his predestination, and the problem of Oedipus' life, he had nothing to do with that. He was totally unknown about his own fate, but he was running from his life all through his life. When he was a kid, he was sent to murder by a shepherd, but he couldn't kill. That is not Oedipus' fault. And when Oedipus became grown up, and he was brought up in Corinth, but he also heard the message from oracle that he is going to have an incest with his mother, and is going to kill his father. Again, he ran from Corinth, and unfortunately he came to the crossroad of life in front of the Laius, and he killed Laius as well, and bed with his own mother, Jocasta. That means he did not know anything, but he was running from his whole life. I want to show my nonet here. You would understand. Running from one place to another, running from father or mother, rough Corinth to deadly Thebes, and the prophet to prophet. And prophet to prophet means prophet. First prophet here is we are going to get Tiresias. Another prophet he would get in Corinth, another oracle. Pillar to the post, Sphinx your host. Nothing came. If you would doubt. That means I'm asking Oedipus in this way: if you doubt the word of oracle, nothing would happen. When you were in Corinth, oracle told that you are going to commit these types of crimes. If you have just some slight doubt that nothing might happen, nothing would happen. So another problem of King Oedipus is he had a faith, and he usually believed the words of oracle like the ancient people. Okay. Yes. After Oedipus' birth, King Laius of Thebes was informed by the oracle that means he was doomed to perish by the hand of his own son, and that's why he also summoned Jocasta about the information and wanted to kill that infant. And it is a real stupidity. A child is always innocent, but how can you kill a child, an infant, considering those superstitious belief? Okay, so Oedipus did not know anything about it, and he was handed over to a shepherd, and the shepherd handed Oedipus to the king of Corinth. The king of Corinth, Polybus. The king of Corinth, Polybus, was childless, and that's why he adopted Oedipus desperately, because both husband and wife, it means the king and queen of Corinth, needed someone to inherit his kingdom. Okay. So when Oedipus became grown up and he met an oracle, the oracle said that you are going to commit these types of crime, you are going to kill your father, and you are going to commit an incest with mother. He ran from Thebes because he almost became mad hearing the news. How can he do such a thing? So later, when he was on the way of Thebes, he did not know the roads of these things. In those days, the people of Thebes were too much disturbed by the riddle of Sphinx. So King Laius was going to consult with the oracle how to solve the riddle of Sphinx. But on the road, I discussed in those earlier pictures, on the road, Oedipus was standing, and King Laius, he was old, obviously. King Laius asked asked uh, asked Oedipus to leave the road, but King Oedipus didn't do that because he was too much disturbed and he was thinking, brooding over his misfortune. And suddenly, when the men of king attacked Oedipus, but Oedipus fought bravely and killed all of them. One was left alive, but he told lie to Queen Jocasta that they were killed by a band of dacoits because he felt it is very much insulting for a soldier who ran away from the from the fight. So that's why he didn't say the exact truth, rather he fabricated it. So Oedipus solved the problem of Sphinx, and Sphinx died. And in this way, the people of Thebes crowned Oedipus, and by inheritance, as Laius died, by inheritance, he got the throne and the queen, and he was living peacefully. But suddenly, the outbreak of plague changed the whole plot of the Theban kingdom. So when the oracle said that that definitely they have to find the murderer of the old king Laius, and Oedipus did not know he killed Laius, so that's why he take an oath to finish the job. But Oedipus also summoned the blind prophet Tiresias, and the Tiresias accuses Oedipus, and Oedipus began to believe this was a real conspiracy against him, and there might be some hand with Creon. That's why he began to blame both Tiresias and Creon. So he wanted to bring Creon into justice along with Tiresias as well. As Tiresias was blind, he got some mercy, but the tongue of Tiresias was very sharp. But the Creon had some prestige, as he was a royal person, and for this reason, Creon also challenged Oedipus. If somehow anyone can prove that Creon is accused of, he would say no word. Rather, he can give him death penalty anytime. Okay. Oedipus demands that Creon be executed. Okay. So, but Jocasta interferes in those at that time. But Oedipus began to believe that as Jocasta and Creon, brothers and sister, definitely Jocasta is taking the side of Creon, and Oedipus also blamed Jocasta in this way. You are also with Creon and Tiresias. So here Oedipus is making another mistake because he became alone. He is making Tiresias, Creon, and Jocasta along with a great enemy. So when he is thinking his wife is his enemy, when he is thinking his brother-in-law is his enemy, and even he is thinking that the blind prophet, all who is respected by all, is also his enemy. Here the king is becoming too much isolated, and if a king becomes isolated, he cannot rule the uh, rule a kingdom. And another problem is that Oedipus had no privacy. He didn't consult with his aristocrat. He didn't consult with his elites. Rather, he wanted to solve the problem single-handedly, the thing which was impossible for him. That is the major problem of Oedipus, and he was not diplomat at all. He cannot give promise in front of the people like this. Rather, he had to be diplomatic. He had to say that I want to probe it. I want to do something, but give me some time. But rather doing that, he began to blame Creon. He began to blame Jocasta, or to blame the blind prophet Tiresias. So he became a fun in front of the audience, but all his arrogance, his style of talking as he was a king, was just bringing him his own doom. Okay. But the prophecy of it was a great prophecy that Laius would be killed by his own son, and when Oedipus discovered that he killed Laius, he was not worried, because Laius was not his own father. So it was a great mistake, and he had committed the crime. Okay. Okay. But there was a messenger arrives who told Oedipus that the death of King Polybus, and Oedipus was shocked that it was his own father. Usually, he did not know that King Polybus adopted him. That's why it was a great shock him, but he was happy because the oracle said that he would kill his own father, but King Polybus died. So Oedipus felt a big relief that he didn't kill his father, rather his father died naturally, because he thought and he knew he was the original son of King Polybus. And Oedipus, and another problem that he would commit incest with his mother. But the messenger said, Oedipus, so don't worry, you have no chance to commit incest with your mother, because they are not your original father and mother at all. They were not your biological father. They adopted you, and it was a great shock for Oedipus again. So what do you mean by they are not my original parents? Then Queen Jocasta. Um, Here it is written, the Queen Merope, in the last line you see Queen Merope, some say the Queen Merope of Corinth was not in fact his real mother anyway. So it was again another shock. That means if I don't know who is my real parents, that means I have a great chance to commit these types of crime. Okay. But who was the messenger? Somehow the messenger and the shepherd became the same person. That is the problem. Another one, and which is going to reveal the original truth. Okay. Then this is the shepherd who took to Corinth and gave up to King Polybus for adaptation. And he is also the very same shepherd. It is written here clearly, and it's a good synopsis. You would read it and write it, and I am going to give you the PDF copy, no problem with that. But Jocasta began to understand, and here we're going to discover a highly human Jocasta. Here Oedipus is the central character. Definitely he is the protagonist, and though Jocasta is a central character, or one of the major characters, she has some little role. But here we began to understand the human of Jocasta, when Jocasta began to understand that this is Oedipus, who might be my own son. And he began to fear, and he began to become afraid and began to tremble with fear. So if it happens, I cannot sustain it, I cannot tolerate it, that I am the mother of Oedipus, and I became again mother to the children of Oedipus. So Oedipus is both my husband and my son. I cannot stand it. And Oedipus would try to distract, would try to distract Oedipus in this way. No problem with that. What happened. No, go right now. Go. He would also request the messenger to go away, but Oedipus would make a haste, and he is going to the tragic flaw. And Oedipus, Oedipus was a brave man. It's true, and he has that courage to discover or unfold any kind of truth, and he want to dig the truth, no matter how ugly the truth is. That is the strength of Oedipus' character. Okay. But Oedipus somehow forced the shepherd, and he also he also threatened the shepherd. If he did not disclose the truth, he would be killed. And somehow it was proved that this is the boy, and this is the Oedipus, and they would check the heel of Oedipus, and they are going to get the stolen foot of the baby. And it is proved that this is the Oedipus who killed his father Laius, those who did not know anything. And this is Oedipus. Jocasta is his mother, though he did not know, and she had become become his wife as well. So, and the truth reveals in this way. And Oedipus began to curse himself, and the whole audience. This is the catharsis the people would get. They would be very much or tremendous pressure. I discussed with those characters in my earlier classes, that people would feel that it should not happen, but this thing was happening. So the thing happened. Oedipus uprooted his own eyes, and Jocasta committed suicide. And Oedipus requested Creon. Creon became speechless because he did not know what was going to happen. At first, Creon was defending himself, but Creon later became a pawn or an instrument of those scenes. He was standing, but he had not such command over those later scene. Rather, he was standing, and he became like an audience. And Oedipus Oedipus requested Creon to look after his daughters. So this is the fate of Oedipus. If you have any question, ask me, or I am going to discuss, or I want to review other slides that I discussed earlier. Okay. Oedipus asked, as Oedipus took a place that he is going to bring into justice to the criminal. And so Oedipus found that he was the guilty man, so he begs to be exiled as soon as possible, and asked Creon to look after his daughters Antigone and Ismene. And this is the Antigone. You are going another text by Sophocles, and she is the daughter of King Oedipus. So in this way, in tragic mood, the text ends. If you have any question, ask me. I want to discuss something more, or I want to discuss the poem, or I'm going to discuss the other characters, or I want to review the text. I give you a couple of seconds to think. If you have any question, ask me.
Sir, we have no question. You can continue.
Okay. So Okay, so I want to show the other slides I discussed. Can you see the screen? Here it is written post.
No, sir, we can't see.
It's internet problem. Let me share this post. Classification of characters. Can you see right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here we are going to, we have discussed it a lot. I have taken 2 classes on the different types of characters and their role. Now it's your duty. You have understood the text and you know the theme. Now it's your time to understand how you are going to define all other characters. So who is the protagonist, who is the antagonist, who is the deuteragonist, who tertiary or confidente, or is there any love interest here, or do you find any foil or not? So we are not going to get all other characters. Rather, we are going to get here protagonist, antagonist, and deuteragonist. Definitely here Jocasta is deuteragonist, and sometimes Creon is tertiary character, and Oedipus has no confidante. The pronunciation is confidante in Italian pronunciation, but we say confidante in English. So, and there is no love interest here, as it's a classic text. So we do not get any love interest here. But in recent novel, definitely you are going to get, or while you are going to read William Shakespeare, definitely you are going to get lots of characters dealing with love interest in As You Like It. Definitely you are going to get these types of characters. All are running towards the Auden because they fell in love and she became Ganymede or something like that. So okay, so dynamic, we also discussed dynamic or static characters and the symbolic or round characters. So these are the protagonist ideas, and you are just reading Sophocles right now, but some other great texts are coming like Hamlet or Macbeth. You are going to read King Lear, and definitely you would understand. Just you don't need to memorize all these things, but bear in mind we have given all of you all those PDF copies, and just when you are going to get your leisure, just have a look all those slides so that you may not forget those things and you would understand it immensely. and in nowadays in YouTube or somewhere else, you are going to get all the videos. And take time to understand a text. It takes time, because drama is such a kind of literary piece which includes everything. When you are reading poetry, poetry is not, in ancient time though used to deal, but poetry is not going to deal with music right now. But in play, you are going to get music, you are going to get setting, you are going to get background, costume, choreography, where to stand, how to stand, and how to give the speech as well, how to deliver the speech as well. That is all one of the major challenge. When I'm writing a poem, I usually do, I don't have that much it's not that much challenging, because I don't have to recite that, though we recite loudly to make it perfect. But it's not necessary to be a poet to be a good reciter. But it was very much keen for a playwright to be a good director, and he had to understand every aspect of character. So you're not going to portray, we're not, if you cannot do that, you're not going to portray anything, and the audience in the theater would feel drowsy, and they would like to leave. And it's a huge challenge for the playwright or the performer to amuse the people. It's not easy to amuse the audience all the time. Okay, so you would read Othello, King Lear, and when you're going to, I have quoted Iago as the antagonist, and lots of antagonists you are going to get in literature, but you are not going to get such a sharp villain like Iago anymore. But this is the finest, one of the finest creations of William Shakespeare. That how can a man put such a poison in the heart of another man? And in Easter Jalsa or Easter Plus, definitely you are going to get these types of characters, but they are very much blunt. Those ideas can be understood by even a child. Those blunt ideas cannot give us such a high performing amusement. The thing usually we get from Othello, especially by the performance of Iago. And in Deuteragonist, you are here also. I discuss about Jocasta, and you will read Bennett, and these things I discussed, and I also discussed about the Confidente. So while you are reading any play or any novel or any short story, bear these things in your mind, all these types of things. And it's very common, and it's very much frequent. We are available to you. If you want to ask any question, definitely you can ask, or you can ask me any question in what do you say, in Facebook as well, or you can inbox me. So how much time is left? How many minutes left? Can you see?
Sir, 5 minutes, I think.
5 minutes, but it shows, but it's not showing right now. Okay, so no problem with that. If you have, do you have any question?
No, sir.
No question.
These things are clear. We are...
Okay. It's wonderful to hear that all things I have taught you, it's clear. So if you want to read short story, start with James Joyce, but it would be difficult, or D.H. Lawrence, or O. Henry, or Guy de Maupassant, or Anton Chekhov. These are the very good. They're the master short story writers, and you would love their text. It would be wonderful if you can read Anton Chekhov. Definitely you would love his writing. So while reading all those other texts, definitely you are going to you'd bear in mind, and you are going to understand the difference between dynamic and static characters as well. These things I have discussed a lot. Stock characters. Okay. And we also talked about Narnia from the Gregor Samsa in the Metamorphosis. Also discussed round characters. Almost, I have discussed almost every types of characters. But it's very unfortunate. It's not showing that how many minutes are left. Okay, should I end the class? If you have any question, ask me, or I would end it. Huh?
No, sir, no question.
Okay.
I have no question actually.
Okay. If you have any question, talk to me later. Okay, thank you.
Okay, sir.